Welcome to Cooking with Scott. This series, Chef Scott Richardson is cooking us some winter treats. Tonight we start off with a warm noodle salad, followed by roast pork and mango chutney. That's sure to impress. Scott then shows off his famous honey-spiced parfait with fresh fruit. Enjoy the show.
Hi, Scott here again in the kitchen. Today we're doing a warm noodle salad. So it's an Asian inspired dish, but could be served in the winter time to actually warm your heart, so to speak, but with those nice Asian flavours. It is a vegetarian dish as well. You could actually add some meat to it, probably the likes of some smoked chicken or just some normal chicken, but it's good to have a vegetarian option there as well. So looking at the ingredients I've got some pre-prepared cabbage, which I've just cut into thin strips. We've got some bean shoots. If you can get some bean sprouts, even better. I've got some sliced spring onion. I've got a good cupful of coriander. I've got some julienne of carrot, and if you've followed my program, the julienne is just the little sticks, little matchsticks is what we're after of carrot. We've got the same of red pepper, so it's a whole red pepper we've cut into thin strips. We've got our egg noodles. Now I've brought a fresh egg noodle, so a fresh egg pasta noodle that I've actually just cooked in boiling salted water till al dente, so this is already cooked off, ready to go. For our dressing or our sauce, we've got some hoisin sauce, we've got some sesame oil, some lime juice, I'm just using out of the bottle, and we've got some sugar. So also on the stove at the moment, I'm also just heating up some extra sesame oil, and you'll see what I'm going to use that for in a minute. But let's look at our vegetable part first. So into a reasonable sized bowl, we're going to put all those ingredients. So in goes our cabbage, our julienne of carrot, our julienne of red pepper. We've got our spring onions going in, and with our sprouts, I'm just going to break those in half, and there you go. And what I want to do now is actually want to toss those together. So most of those ingredients, of course, are readily available during the winter months. The peppers get a bit more expensive, so you may want to leave those out. But any fresh vegetables would be great in this. You could even add some red onion, so if you don't want to put the red pepper in, you could substitute that with some red onion, would be great as well. And of course, as we get really into the midst of winter, fresh coriander is not readily available. You could put just some Italian parsley, would be great in there as well. Or if you wanted to get that hit of coriander, you can buy in the winter months the coriander paste in a tube, which is basically made from fresh herbs. So you could use a squeeze of that if you wanted to get that coriander flavour coming through. So we want to get all those mixed together. So we've got a nice colourful mix. Get that last bit there, so we're just going to set that aside. We need to look at our dressing. So in goes our hoisin sauce, which is just a brought sauce off the supermarket shelf. Using a lot of Asian cuisine, so in goes that. We want to put a teaspoon of sesame oil. It's quite strong, so you don't want to use too much of that. We want about 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, the fresh or out of the bottle. And then we want some sugar for some sweetness. And we want to mix all of those together. Change to a fork. Now we're going to put just half of it just over our vegetables, just to let some of those flavours get going. And I'm just going to add a wee bit of sea salt to that as well. Now I've already got some pre-prepared toasted sesame seeds, so I've just put some sesame seeds into a tray, into the oven, and just got them lightly toasted off. So onto our noodles. So I'm going to put our fry pan back onto a high heat. I've got a deep-sided fry pan here. You could use a shallower one, but this one would actually just contain all the ingredients in there. If you didn't have a deep-sided fry pan, just feel free to use a good pot. Pot will work just as well. So we want to just get that sesame oil up to heat. I'm not going to use all the noodles, but we'll probably use about half of them. Just do a bit of a cut off there. So in goes your noodles. So that's why it's called a warm noodle salad. So all we're doing is just warming the noodles up. They're getting coated in that sesame oil. So as I said, we're on that high heat. We're then going to take our vegetables, and in go our veg. And again, we don't want to cook this too much, because then we're going to lose all the texture of those vegetables. So that's why it's just a warm noodle salad. So you can see how the high-sided fry pan definitely helps. So all we're looking at it here is just a couple of minutes just to actually warm those ingredients through. About halfway through that time, take the other half of your dressing and pour that in on top. And just keep turning it. The coriander will just wilt down a wee bit, which is what we want. So we've got all those nice smells starting to come out of the pan as that dressing heats up. So this is great as an actual main meal, or you could put it out as a salad, as a warm salad to go with other dishes. So that's all we need. So into our bowl. You can see all those nice colours. I can see those vegetables are still retaining their crispiness. Got all those noodles stirred through. And if you're going to serve it, don't play around with it, just leave it as it falls. So we've got that nice height, and then we're just going to sprinkle over some of those toasted sesame seeds to carry through that sesame seed note that's there. So there's our wonderful warm noodle salad to warm your heart in these cold winter months.